So today's episode of Product by Kel, special podcast conversation with Richard Chen from Elevate. Rich and I actually met through Product Gym, and that's a career coaching program focused on product management, its tech skills, business fundamentals, interview skills, case studies, and also job hunting strategies. And that's part of the broader Elevate ecosystem. And that's expanded into multiple courses, including tech sales, cybersecurity, and even HVAC. So this episode, we're going to focus on cybersecurity. I have a lot of questions myself. I know a lot of you out there are curious as well on what it really takes to get started. So we're going to break it all down and get right to it. Cool. What's your take on, at a very high level, what does working in cybersecurity actually mean day to day?
Overall, it's user protection, making sure that people's data is safe and that bad actors and the wrong people are not exploiting you digitally. Obviously, if like not to give away your age and my age here, but I think we remember a time when like people that use computer were like kind of computer geeks and then are like nerds, right? And there was also like another phase where there's a lot of people that were like maybe like gamers or like that's just a little bit more tech focused, and then everybody else that's not. Over the past 10 to I would say almost 12 years, the tech companies have been the hot companies to work for. Like it's no longer investment banking, it's no longer management consultant. Like the cool kids right now all want to break into tech and do something that's in tech. If you're a lawyer, you want to be a lawyer in tech. If you're sales and marketing, and that's just because everybody at the palm of their hand right now has access to a supercomputer. So I don't know if people know this, but 2019 data outsold oil as the world's most valuable commodity. Yeah, that's crazy, right? To think about it. And that's just because like we're more reliant on technology than ever. A lot of our personal thoughts, our personal information, our most pretty much everything is just being stored over the web. And if the wrong people get a hold of it, like right now, probably the largest e-commerce company in South Korea, Coupon, which is their version of Amazon. They do all the deliveries for like whatever it is that you need to buy. I just moved in my new apartment, so I bought a bunch of stuff, right? They just got hacked. That's 33 million users' data that is completely vulnerable right now. Their passwords, their purchase histories, everything. So if you think about that, like cybersecurity is just, for the last 5 years, it's been one of the most lucrative fields to get into, and it's actually the most AI-proof and future-proof career, or probably one of the most AI-proof and future-proof careers in the world of IT that somebody can break into moving into like 2026, and probably for the second half of like this decade.
Yeah, sounds good. I mean, as we all know, AI is everywhere, so cybersecurity is becoming more of a common term. Love to dive into what are the different types of roles within cybersecurity.
So many. So if like in a high level, if I was to break it down, like if we said cybersecurity, if we made it the term less fancy, think about regular security, right? You would have like somebody watching the door down to like surveillance. There's so many different parts of cybersecurity because honestly, whatever you have, it's like the bullet in the vest. Whenever you have like a really, like you thought you had a bulletproof body armor, somebody else is going to invent a bullet that's going to pierce right through that. If you ever think that you have this safe that no thief could ever break into, there will be somebody out there that's going to go ahead and crack the combination. So in the roles of cybersecurity, you have like penetration tester, vulnerability tester. You have people that are cybersecurity analysts. You have teams that are separate from like they'll hear terms like blue team or red team or purple team. The number of ways somebody can break into the cybersecurity infrastructure of a company is pretty vast right now. And all of that data, unfortunately, is linked. So if you think about something like your dating app, like a Hinge or a Tinder, what do you need to have a dating app? Somebody might just think that breaking into Tinder or breaking into Hinge, you might just have, okay, you have somebody that broke in and it's access to, I don't know, the 6 or 8 photos now. I've been on dating app in a while, but 6 or 8 photos that you have up. Maybe
I wouldn't know.
Yeah, I know you're happy. I think you're happy. You are married, hopefully happy.
Yes,
right?
yes.
Or like the 4 sentences that differentiate you from every other person that's on the app, right? But if you look at it, your dating app, you're usually using your Instagram account to sign on. And that means if they can break into your dating app, they can get into your Instagram. And your IG, now that has a lot more information on it. All of your messages, your scrolling history, maybe even credit card information, and where's your IG being accessed? Through usually like an Apple iPhone, right? So if you take a look at just all the different ways that we are just so interconnected with technology, like all of our iPhones here use very common app that we would have is like maybe like YouTube or Spotify, and then from there you go into one app and then another app, all of that personal information. You have so many different types of roles and so many different types of specialists making sure that everything is just functioning correctly. So the world is pretty wide. The number of ways that you can break in are quite plentiful, but it also depends on like what do you enjoy doing. But with the advent of AI, like right now, hackers are automating cybersecurity attacks with Claude. They're creating prompts to go out there and not only create attacks, but to go out there and automate repeated attacks over and over and over again and creating different types of offenses. So when people ask me, there's product manager openings right now, there's about 120,000 openings in the country. For cybersecurity openings right now, there's close to 750,000 openings throughout the US. If you're talking about global openings, there's a little bit over 3 million. And with cybersecurity roles, you're able to go ahead and go abroad. And that's just because cybersecurity attacks do not stop after 6 p.m. Unfortunately, that's just actually usually when it starts. So like we can't expect, there are a group of professionals that are working like graveyard shifts, but we can't expect and just solely rely on them, right? So you have teams of people that are working abroad. So if you have the right certifications, you can work, and you have the right certifications along with the right experience, you can take your career to wonderful cities like Singapore, Sydney, Australia, London, Frankfurt, Dubai. Pretty much sky's the limit to what you can imagine.
Wow, that's pretty crazy. It seems like there's a lot of opportunity because there's always something new. Someone's trying to invent a new way to penetrate systems. You know, when I think of cybersecurity, I immediately think of the Matrix. And you mentioned red team versus blue team, which reminds me of the Halo days. So just curious, like overall, someone coming in, how technical do you really need to be to get started?
The good news is you don't really need to be that technical. And it's just because like this is a role that is a national priority. So we want to get as many, like we have a major shortage of cybersecurity professionals. So when people are wondering like how technical, it's how technical do you want to be? Because with enough years, time, and training on the job, you will get more technical. But we need people to break into this field right now. Over 80% of the cybersecurity attacks they originate right now from Asia and Russia. So China, North Korea, Russia, Iran. The third largest holder of Bitcoin right now is North Korea. They started off the year, they ended last year clearing $1.2 billion in crypto theft from Japan. Right. And they started off the year with another $1 billion, I think it was like $1.3 billion before Chinese New Year, which was in January this year, from a Dubai crypto exchange. And in the world of crypto, if you get your crypto stolen, it's kind of hard to get it back. Which has also created a whole field of cybersecurity for crypto, right? So the need is actually very much out there, but also now with AI, a lot of times people think that bad actors are just government and state sponsored. That's a part of it, but corporate espionage is at an all-time high. If you think about the amount of money that somebody would stand to gain being able to hack into OpenAI or Google, it's kind of hard to think that the first sentence of The Art of War, right, is know yourself, know your enemy. So corporate espionage, that industry has been booming for the last 10 years. And if you're thinking in the world of tech or in the world of investment banking, they're not below paying for information. Mark Zuckerberg is willing to go out there and drop 9-figure rates to steal the best people from OpenAI to be part of his super intelligence team. Trust me, he's more than willing to spend $3 million to buy information off of people, right? And that's his starting offer. So corporate espionage is also at an all-time high. So with cybersecurity, also we have a tech sales program here at Elevate. I wouldn't say all, but a lot of our students who have gone into tech sales that are clearing the highest commissions are selling cybersecurity solutions. Because growing up, I think you and I are part of that generation where when we think of cybersecurity, we think of Norton antivirus. Yep. There is a whole genre among subgenres of cybersecurity software and solutions that are out there. And people aren't just oh, I'm a Netflix fan, I'm not a Hulu fan. They get them all. Just if you have a Netflix subscription, you most likely have a Disney Plus, a Hulu, HBO Go, and all that, right? So it is a very lucrative field.
Okay, good to hear. So what would you say are the skills that matter more early on? Would you say it's certifications, hands-on projects, or real-world experience?
All of the above, but honestly, what's going to be the most tedious blocker is going to be getting certified. The skills you can learn in a program, you might be able to learn on your own. But without the certification, you're not really able to do much. Are there people that are able to get jobs without the standard certifications? Absolutely. The vast majority of people won't. And these are people that, generally speaking, they may have had some training. So it's would you need to go to a culinary school if your older brother came out of the Iron Chef Academy, right? So I do notice that people that are able to break in without the standard certifications, they have some family members up front. They had some kind of advantage breaking in, but they are outliers. I wouldn't say they are general population. So there's 4 certifications to go ahead and start. The most standard basic entry level certification and it's usually governed by one standard body. It's called CompTIA. They're the ones that not only design the curriculum, but they're also the ones that proctor the exam. So think of them as the DMV in the world of cybersecurity, right? So you need to get certified from them and you need to take a test from them. The bad news for most people is a good chunk of their revenue comes from you taking the test again. So if you ChatGPT fact check me right now, the first time pass rate for the average exam taker is 61%. So you have a 4 out of 10 chance that you're going to go ahead and pass. At our program, you have over 90% chance that you're going to go ahead and pass. Because the approach that we take with it is basically this. We provide you with all of the practice exams, and we provide you with the practice exam answers and the questions, and we also simulate an authentic test-taking experience. So the exam was designed for you to fail. The CompTIA A+ is a 90-minute exam, and you have 90 questions. That's 1 minute per question. There is honestly no reason for them to enforce a time limit. It's not like we're running a wedding chapel where the priest is you guys got 90 minutes because, the next couple's coming in, the next couple's coming in after that. No. The reason why they enforce a 90-minute time limit is because they want added stress and pressure so you fail. So you're going to come take it over again because they have almost a 100% retest rate. Think about it. If you got good enough to make it to the exam, you ain't going to let failing it once. Like if you fail the DMV exam, what are you going to do? Not drive? You've already come this far. You're going to go ahead. So when we simulate a very authentic test-taking experience so people feel comfortable, and that's just one exam, right? The Network Plus is the second exam, the Security Plus is another exam, and then the Certified Ethical Hacker is the next exam that usually people take, and they're getting ready to come out with another certification, which is CompTIA Security AI Plus, to go out there and navigate the AI. I mean, we think there might be a time when AI decides to attack itself, which could be a possibility, right? But regardless, we start with the end in mind, which is you're doing all of this to go out there and take the exam. So with us, it's let's get the exam out of the way. When most people are thinking about, like, oh, what MBA program I should go ahead and get your GMAT done, or where do I go law school, get your LSAT done? Right? Your biggest bottleneck right now is the exam. Afterwards, then you can go ahead and focus on the skills. Then you can go ahead and focus on all of the actual job hunting. Because I can tell you the truth right now, there's a lot of people, because we have all the practice exams, we have all the questions, we have all the answers, and we can simulate the actual testing environment. The biggest problem right now is even people, just think about it this way. There are people right now simulating that actual test environment is like, because you got to think about it this way. There's people right now on the job that actually have the experience and they can do the next job, but they're missing that second, third, fourth, fifth certification, right? That's actually helping them get into a better position. Why is it that they're already in the business and they can afford to go out there and take these programs? Why are they not doing this? Because they're not focused on doing the act, like they knew how much work it took them the first time around and they don't want to do it. For us, it's like we want to make it the effort so low that even people that are in the industry can go ahead and just level up.
So, having said that, what would you say is a realistic timeline from someone to go from just zero to ready to take the test? And then follow-up question, after they've passed the test, to actually get job ready in cybersecurity?
Okay, so going from zero to taking the test, I would say it's like 30 to 45 days. If you're talking about going from zero to like being job ready, that's another 30 to 45 days. If you're doing this thing full time, I don't see why you can't do both at the same time. If you're doing this part time, like you got a job, you should focus on one thing versus the other, which is like the first thing you should focus on is getting the exam out of the way. And then the second thing you should focus on after that is actually learning all the skills and actually getting job ready, and then, focusing on the job hunt. And we get a lot of gamers that actually come through our program. If mom and dad is paying for your tuition and you ain't got nothing else to do, you ain't got no excuse. You should just be 100% locked in. You have, 4 to 5 hours every single day to study for the exam, another 2 to 3 hours to go out there and actually prepare for the job, and then another 1 hour maybe getting ready for the job hunt. But I honestly think that the easier thing to do is just focusing on one thing at a time. And just throw all of your bandwidth and just getting the exam out of the way. Just throw all your bandwidth and getting the exam out of the way. It's going to make your life so much easier. And, sometimes people think like, oh, it's going to take me forever. Like, just start it. There's a set number of modules per exam. Like it could be, and they're just like chapters, and inside there's like sub-chapters and lessons. If you just gain, like there's average anywhere between, I'll say 9 modules to like 15 modules, depending on the exam that you're going after, or maybe even upwards of 20 modules. Be realistic with your timeline of like, I think at the very bare minimum, you can do 1 module per week, right? If you really can, I think at the very bare minimum, you can do half. I think that's kind of like exaggerating, but even at 1 module a week, within 9 to 10 weeks, which is kind of like just like, a little bit over 2 months, right? But then you got to step on it a little bit on the weekends, right? If you start it, like you you can go ahead and get it done. And I think people also underestimate the learning curve situation, which is like maybe the first 2 modules, you're like, oh my gosh, this is going to take me forever. But the more you're diving into it, like by modules 5 and 6 and 7, you're just like, you just understand, you know, what is required of you. So you got to put in, everything is slow and everything is like, can be frustrating in the very beginning, but that's actually why we're here to get you through that part so you can go ahead and move on to bigger and better.
Okay. So let's say I passed the most entry-level certification. How long is that certification good for?
It really depends because like when you talk about entry-level certification, here's another big conception is a lot of people think they have to start with CompTIA A+. You don't. You can start with Network Plus, you can start with Security Plus, you can start with Certified Ethical Hacker. In fact, I think you should just go for the toughest one out of the 4 first. And the reason for that is it's kind of like you have a straight, you got a flush, and then you got a royal flush that's trumping it all out, right? Each and every one of these exams or each and every one of these certifications is going to take you about 100 hours of studying. So 100 hours of studying, why not get a better certification that's going to get you a way higher paying job? Because that's a royal flush that's going to trump everything else, right? You know, that's going to trump your 4 of a kind. That's going to trump all the other like hands that I forgot because I haven't played like Pokemon, Texas Hold'em in so long. But you don't have to start on the very bottom one, and that's not only time that you're saving, it's also money that you're saving. Now, you got to understand that with each certification, like I said, CompTIA, it's a business. So I don't know when somebody's going to watch this video, so I don't want to drop a time limit out there. But just like your driver's license, you have to go ahead and renew it. The more people that get it, the exam, I mean, CompTIA as a business is happy because they got purchased by a private equity group last November. So now if it wasn't clear that they were 100% pure for-profit, it is now a real for-profit right now, which is also why I've seen them like whip out like a lot more certifications. But take it as soon as possible. I would say like the barriers that people have with themselves is they always ask themselves the following questions. Do I need a certification to get a cybersecurity job? No, you don't. And if you want to lock in and do it, you can. But very few people will. And they'll say like, well, like, is the CompTIA A+ even worth it anymore? Honestly speaking, not really, because so many people have it. So like, why don't you go ahead and go for like one of the bigger certifications, right? And then they'll think to themselves like, well, like, but don't I need to know all this? There's always some freaking excuse about why they're not going to go ahead and start. If you want to do it by yourself, do it by yourself. You know, there's plenty of free programs out there. Like Google has a free cybersecurity certification. If you go to Coursera and Udemy, there's a huge catalog of free certifications out there. It's not going to be industry recognized because CompTIA is, you know, it's kind of like the standardized, like QuickBooks is like the standard software for like accountants because they got it that early, right? But like, if you're going to do it, you might as well just go ahead and do it and just understand this is a certification heavy game. If you didn't need a certification to break into cybersecurity, I promise you, these are the 4 entry-level certifications, but there's another 20, 30 certifications above that. And if you're looking at the guys that are like, looking at the guys and the girls that's been in the field for 10 years, they all have like 10, 15, 20, 25 certifications. So like at some point, you're going to have to drop cash and do this. And you're going to have to really have a really locked down, bulletproof method of like preparing for exams in a short amount of time because you're going to be busy or you have other stuff that you want to do in your personal life. So let's go ahead and get it out of the way. For us, it's like, we give you all the questions. We train you on how to study for the concepts. But most people, the reason why they fail is because all of a sudden the other schools, they don't simulate an authentic testing environment. So all of a sudden you add that timer in there and they get stressed out like, oh shit, it's been a minute and 15 seconds already. I have a minute per question. I got to race. And that's when they start making like mistakes. They don't account for those things. Like, you know, it's kind of like one of those cooking shows where they're like, you got 30 minutes or 45 minutes to put something in front of Gordon Ramsay's like, well, normally it wouldn't even take me this long at home. But but when you see the clock actually ticking down, you start getting stressed out. It was done on purpose for you to fail, so you would come back and take the exam again. So you're not only investing in getting the certification, you're investing in getting a network, you're investing in getting referrals, and you're investing in getting all that.
Okay. So I think you mentioned a little bit about this already, but what would you say makes Elevate's program different from other boot camps for cybersecurity?
The chief difference is that we will work with you. So you have 3 major milestones in actually being successful in cybersecurity. Number 1 is passing the standardized exam. That could be an A+, a network plus, whatever plus, is making sure that you're getting that certification. Number 2 is making sure that you're getting the job. Number 3 is making sure that you are successful at that job. And then I would say the 4th major milestone is making sure that you're constantly being able to level up on the next certification. So let's start off with milestone number 1. Every school that we have done a LinkedIn outreach campaign to, when we talk to their alumni, they have a bunch of open to work signs, and it's because they didn't pass the standard the standard certification, and they will have a certificate of completion from the program. I could have a certificate of completion that's called a diploma saying I went to NYU Law School, I went to Stanford Law, I went to Harvard Law, I went to USC Law. But that's not the same thing as you passing the bar to practice law in the state of California or in the state of New York, right? So I would say 9 out of 10 schools don't get you to the actual standard certification. And then they lie to people saying that you don't need this. No, you don't. They're not exactly lying. But if somebody else has that certification, let's just say you have the CompTIA Security Plus, and me, I don't. Who do you think the employer is going to hire? They're going to hire you because you have the Security Plus. So are there circumstances where can this person get a job? 100% if nobody else had a certification that was applying for. Number 2 is they don't actually work as you have just freshly gone through the job hunt yourself with Product Gym. Most schools, just like MBA programs, the part that they really don't want to be involved with is the placement part, which we have locked down to an effing science. So how to write your resume, how to position your LinkedIn, how to go ahead and apply, the interview portion of it, how we've been complete tiger moms about follow up. Oh, the recruiter hasn't reached back out to me for follow up, right? They actually don't do that. The third thing is actually the community, which, as you can see right now, you guys are still putting out content. You're doing content with me right now. There's still a very active network. Kylie just landed a job in our product manager program, who making sure that people are constantly in the know. I don't see other programs doing that. And number 4, like I said, we start off with the certification first. So the A+, the standard, I would say salary for CompTIA A+ is 50 to 70 grand. Okay, Network Plus brings you up to 70 to 85. If you were talking about 90, 95 to 105 is Security Plus. You want to make more than 120, it's 100 and make more than $120,000 a year. It's certified ethical hacker. And then the CompTIA Security AI Plus, that one's going to bring you to over 200. Granted, by the time that you have these certifications, you also have let's just say more industry experience. Maybe some of the people that we've seen make the real big bucks is they have prior experience working in crypto, banking, fintech, payments data. If JP Morgan ever got hacked, forget the PR nightmare. Right now, Coupon just got hacked, and they're going in front of the Korean legislative body, their version of getting grilled by Congress right now. How did you guys let this happen? And they're gonna get a fine. Your job as a restaurant is to make sure there's no cockroaches in the kitchen, right? You're supposed to be running a clean shop. So constantly making sure that people are in the know and giving people a very clear process of okay, every 2 months, how do you get the next certification, the next certification, the next certification, so that you're constantly getting higher rates? With us, you don't need to start at CompTIA A+, but let's just say if you did, our test taking preparation methodology is so good that everybody that graduates from all the other schools, they come to us. And they're able to go ahead and get 4 to 5 certifications out of the way in a year. Because it's just like those Chinese driving schools, right? You give them $500 and they give you 1,000 questions from the DMV. And then the Chinese moms and dads just study that. We all been there. And it's open conveniently next to the real estate school, where they just give you the real estate exams, and or like, hey, you want to go out there and, your son just graduated high school, he should have a life insurance freaking license, right? And like half my Asian friends have a real estate broker's license. They never sold a house in their life. Their parents just told them to get it. It's almost always the school is right next to the driving school. So with us, we look at it very logically. More certifications that you have means bigger paychecks. So we need to create a very clear process for you to be able to constantly get that next certification, so you don't feel like you're being bogged down, because there's people with an A+, but they've been procrastinating on getting their Network Plus, and they've been in the game for 6-7 years. There's people with a Network Plus, they've been procrastinating on the Security Plus, and they've been procrastinating for like 5-6 years. We just talked to a guy right now. He's had a CompTIA Security Plus. He's been procrastinating the last 3 years on getting his certified ethical hacker. In fact, he's already doing that job because his company's short-staffed, but they don't pay him more because they know it's difficult for him to leave, because when he's applying to other companies, they're like, well, this other guy here has less experience than you, but he has a certified ethical hacker. And the only reason why he told us like he's been procrastinating this entire time, he's got a family, and he was like, the last time I did this, I studied for it night and day for 3 months, and some people are just not good test takers. That's a fact. That's not a cop-out. And in our program, he was able to get a certified ethical hacker in about 33 days. And then now he's like able to go out there. He's booking interviews left and right. He's already had the experience. So we also think about that side as like, okay, what about all the people that already have a few of these certifications? What's stopping them from getting the next one? It can't be because of a few grand to take the program. It can't be because of lack of experience. It can't be because they don't want to do this industry anymore. They're already in the industry, right? So we think about all those different things. We do. That's actually why you enroll. We're so big on the user experience here. And I think like right now, it's a great time because there's 750,000 openings. And one of the highest jobs that we were able to help move somebody into was a cybersecurity product manager role for $600,000 in Dubai. Right, for a crypto exchange company. I mean, once the North Koreans pull, $1.4 billion out of your pockets, you start investing in how to integrate cybersecurity infrastructure into your business, and you want to hire a PM to do that. But it's absolutely crazy, the rates. But he got all his certifications done early on, and a big part of that was he was lucky he had a mentor that said, you should get all this out of the way right now, early, while you're still like in the mode of studying and you want to get it, because later on you're not going to want to do it. Like after a year, you're just you're not going to want to do it. So like leveling up cybersecurity is it's here, man. We're only going to see more cybersecurity attacks. So if you're thinking about leveling up on the new CompTIA Security AI Plus is dropping on February 17th. We're one of the few schools that's authorized to provide it, and we'll get access to it on January 15th. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. So if someone is curious about, more about Elevate's cybersecurity program, what's the best next step?
Click on the link in the description and schedule a call, or reach out to one of us on LinkedIn.
Right on. Cool. Richard Chen, ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much for taking the time to answer a lot of my questions. I'm sure a lot of you folks out there have the same kind of questions. If there's any additional questions that I should ask Rich, go ahead and leave it in the comments. And don't forget to follow, like, and subscribe.
Yeah, I'll leave it off with this. The cybersecurity role is a national priority. It is a national priority. So please reach out. We would love to talk to you.
All right. Thank you.